So guys, after the weekend, we've had Pacquiao, Broner. I want to now list who I think the top 3 welterweights are in the world right now. These are my 3. At number 3, I have Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao, after that performance, although he didn't look his former self, like he didn't look what he looked 6-7 years ago, he still looked very good, very sharp, for a 40-year-old man and a guy to beat a young, overhyped guy. I don't think Broner's that good, but he's overhyped. But nevertheless, he's young, he's fresh. You could say he's at his peak. And just to win most of the rounds against him, like win like what, probably 10 rounds out of the 12, you probably have to say that the guy, that was an impressive performance. And I still think he's got a lot left. And I think on what he's achieved in the past and what I think he could potentially do against the other welterweights out there, even though I think there's no guarantee that he beats the welterweights below the top 3. If him being at 3, there's no guarantee that he beats 4, 5, 6, 7. But I think you've got to put him there after that performance. You've got to put him at number 3. I just think the other guys like Thurman, he's not done enough lately. There's Thurman, there's Khan, there's Porter, there's who else is Danny Garcia. These are all guys that I would have. I'd probably have Khan at number 7. I'd have Porter at number 6. I'd have probably Danny Garcia. Actually, you'd have to put Porter ahead of Danny Garcia. Beat him, didn't he? So yeah, you'd have Garcia at 6, Khan at 7, Garcia at 6, Porter at 5, Thurman at 4. That's what I would have. But I would have Pacquiao. Just because I'm not saying that Pacquiao beats all of those guys. I think he has a very good chance of doing so. I think Khan might be a very tough fight for Pacquiao, with his height, his reach, his movement and moving around. But then Pacquiao brings his threats in that fight. I think with the other guys like Thurman's a good boxer, but I don't think he would outbox and outpoint Pacquiao. I think he'd probably have to stop him, and that's difficult, if I'm honest. Same with Porter. I think Pacquiao beats Porter. I think stylistically Pacquiao would beat Porter. Yeah, so I think Pacquiao matches well against all of those guys, and he can beat all of those guys. But I think after that performance and what Pacquiao's done in the past, I think I would say Pacquiao's number 3 for me. Even though he's not the legitimate world champion, but I'm just going on what my ratings are, I would have Pacquiao number 3. Number 2, I would have Errol Spence, the truth. I think Errol Spence is a great fighter. I think his resume is still pretty poor apart from Kell Brook and Lamont Peterson. Who's he really fought? Nobody really. He's, we're just going on the eye test, but a lot of these guys have to be tested, and they haven't been. I just think that Errol Spence, he hasn't been tested for me. He hasn't been tested. He's only fought really one top level guy in Kell Brook, and Lamont Peterson was over the hill and finished. So you can't really make much of what him fighting, of fighting Lamont Peterson, who was, like I said, over the hill. He didn't fought on peak or on point Lamont Peterson. So I think Errol Spence, although he's a great fighter and he's world champion, IBF world champion, I still think he's got a lot to prove because his resume is quite poor, But I think number 1 for me is Terence Crawford. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of question marks in the welterweight division for Terence Crawford, but what he's achieved and the fact that I think he would beat Errol Spence, for me, makes him number 1. I think Terence Crawford's an exceptional talent, great fighter. Again, his resume is weak. I think he's got a better resume than Spence, and he's been the undisputed champion, so he cleaned up at the weight category below. But I do think his resume is fairly weak. He hasn't got any world-class fighters on his resume, and I think Amir Khan will probably beat all the guys that he's fought, in my opinion. So really, you can't really make much of Crawford's resume as well. I don't think it's a stacked resume or it's got glittered with great fighters on there. It's a good resume. It's a decent resume, but a resume that needs to be really improved. And he's doing that with fighting Khan. So I do think that's my top 3. I think those are the 3 best welterweights you have to say right now on what they've achieved so far. Actually, I wouldn't say on what they've achieved, but on just my eye test. That's just who I think the 3 best are right now. Unless, things changes, Khan beats Crawford, he gets up there. Or, Thurman puts on an impressive performance. I think he's got a fight next week. So if he puts on a great performance, who knows, right? But it just comes down to, things can change when they fight. Or if Mikey Garcia beats Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia could be up there. We just, like I said, there's a lot to happen till now and then. So, we can't really you know, a lot can happen in a couple of months. Things change, you know, people lose, people win, and, you know, all of a sudden we've got new rankings. But I think right now you probably have to say those are the top 3 welterweights out there. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know your top 3 welterweights right in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.